I haven't been in here in a while, and I may not be in here in a while. So I was thinking maybe it'd be good to have up a placeholder, just because. So hence this is just because. And just because today is a discussion of, okay, so I have an edition of 2, okay? And I've been working on it for many years. And when it's done, I'm going to be happy. And I guess I've been calling it Holy Land. Holy Land. I'm already treating the exterior of this not very good. I've been carrying it around with me lately because I want to complete it. And one of the reasons why this one was not completed was because I couldn't find this. Yeah, think of that. This is just a few pieces of paper with just a little bit of writing on them. But it is the only physical copy of stuff that we used to put on floppy disks and like on, there's no way for me to find the file that this document is. And so at the time when I printed it, I had put it away. I've always kept it with this book thing. And I lost it, which is nightmarish. So then for like 7 years, I could not work on this book because I could not find these 4 pieces of paper with these notes written on them. And now, just very recently, it turned up again. Which brings to mind something that happens in my studio. I've said many times before that I'm a time traveler and that time doesn't have meaning to me in the same way as it does to others as a result. So if an object which is swimming in this room as a loose thing right now, because of the tidal movement of the stuff that moves around in the studio, if it percolates up to the top, if it bubbles up to the top, or if it washes up onto the beach and I grab it and I go, ooh, and there's enough time and I can work on that object, I will work on that object. So if it's from 2003, cool. There's one over there from 2008. It's just sitting there. Doesn't have to be finished. The notion that the object has any different meaning on an anniversary date or on a specific date or in relation to something outside of the object itself is Madison Avenue thinking that has now completely dominated our minds. And I've been trying to snap that from the very beginning. So I'm hoping that my 35 years of production or more now, I think 35 is fair. But I'm at an ongoing is dedicated to this. I am trying to snap the whole thing. The whole thing is wrong. I've been watching you guys make it wronger as we go, you know. We have a dozen books doing it. Douglas Rushkoff's Present Shock is over here, you know. Siva Vaidyanathan's book on Facebook is Antisocial Media is right there. I'm watching the architecture of this stuff go forward to create a false world, and as an artist, I'm slowly and in my own time maintaining stuff from all different times. They don't lose meaning because it's years later. They become a part of, I hope, the larger dialogue. Now, in this instance, what we have is, it's kind of cool. Okay, so these are exactly the same. It's an addition. You have a forward reading and a backward reading. That's not even right. But anyway, if you were to read this book right side up, the way you pick it up in the West, you would pick it up like this and you'd open it, right? Go. Okay, I'm going to read this book, and you open the book and you start to read it. Well, when you do that, the first thing you see is part of a map, and this is all going to be cleaned up, obviously, but it's backwards, and you just opened it. So you might go to the other side, thinking something was different, and it's a different book coming from the other side. It looks like this. So what's happening here is, if you're an Arabic person, if you're a person who reads the other way, the book has one set of meanings and an order. And if you're a Westerner and you approach this book the way you would as a Westerner, it has a different set of meanings. Okay? and there's some really cool stuff in here. And it has, this book that I've made has a centerfold. Let's see, is it one or two? I think there's two. Hang on. There's three. There's three centerfolds in this book. And in each centerfold is a place for a compact disc. CD. A CD goes there. A CD goes here. And a CD goes in the very middle. And the CDs are the audio of Audible Palestine. All the content when I went to Palestine in 2003 and recorded people, interviewed dozens of people, and explored the occupied territories, the very beginning of the building of the wall. Okay? So I was there as the wall was being built. The Iraq War was going on. It was an intense time. These are the audio discs from all of that, all the interviews and so on. Hundreds of hours worth of stuff. You can find that content at Pacifica Radio. Just look for MTK in the OPT. MTK in the OPT at Pacifica Radio. But this part of it has never been published. So there was going to be 3 CDs that go in this that have audio that is not stuff that I did for Pacifica. And those specific audio things are ambient and precious, because things change, places change. And the notes, which is what I was looking for so long, I have just found them. And what it's done is it's given the title at last. I've just been calling it Holy Land because of that backward Holy Land on the front. But this is the actual title. It has there's a bunch of words here, but I'm getting, here's where the title will lie. Between the deaths of Faisal, Husseini, and Yasser Arafat. So Arafat was still alive when I visited Palestine. He was in that rubble. He was, camped up in that crazed situation when I visited Palestine. And the week I was there was the week they captured Saddam Hussein in Tikrit. So internationally, the news is just really wild, We'll bring the Visit Palestine poster for this. So this is all the audio content. There's some audio content that's not in the journalism. Those are going into this thing, and I was waiting to figure out what the writing was, and I found it. So between the deaths of Faisal Husseini, who was like this beautiful pacifist who saved millions of people's lives during this period, the Nakba, and Yasser Arafat, he hadn't died yet, and was like this, basically he couldn't do anything. He was an ineffectual leader. So this all takes place in that time period. And it ends with Sharon accepting the roadmap, the US roadmap of George W. Bush. Idiotic, of course. It all fell apart. And it's crazy to think about being there in those days when I was. And I want to bring this stuff back, so I started to read it. So this is 10 o'clock in the evening, Pacific. I'm taking the red eye to New York, December 5th of 2003. Stayed up through the night intending to sleep on the plane, but the relief of being in the air again after many months has me awake. As I've always said, people say, where are you from? I'm like, I'm not of the earth, I'm of the craft between places. I'm most comfortable on a plane, or a boat or a train or in a car or moving on a bicycle, going from place to place. That line cracks me up. Stayed up through the night intending to sleep, but the relief of being in the air again after many months has me awake. AAB on the commodification of airspace. She's blatantly telling me, yeah, but the privileged fly, What is my responsibility on this journey that requires so much fuel and power to carry me aloft to great distances to Palestine? And then gratitude to MPAC and to Elevate for their contributions, the financial contributions toward me as a journalist there. Many thanks and blessings, privileged myself. Saturday, the 6th of December. We are meant to land in Amman shortly. The change began at JFK, where the first language used to speak to passengers became Arabic, and second only English. New York was enduring a driving snow when we arrived. It had been snowing for several hours. The landing was impressive. Every time the lights at the end of the wing flashed, I saw tiny, white, hard-angled streaks of light. It was snowing, landing in snow, you know? A rhythmic approximation of the angle of our descent. The captain managed to bring the plane down through this insistent hard snow exceptionally smoothly, a long, slow, easy descent onto the white snow-covered runways of JFK. It was cold, 23 degrees Fahrenheit. The need to de-ice forced a 3-hour delay before we were finally able to take off from New York on Royal Jordanian Flight 292 to Amman. Yeah, so these are the notes from the trip. They're going to go into these two books, and it has been found and it has been given a name. Between the Deaths of Faisal Husseini and Yasser Arafat, The Farce of Relative Calm. And there's a line here. The new age lies morally bankrupt, ethically compromised, and most importantly, socio-politically useless or worse, infiltrated, and used commonly for the cause of the reactionary elite for 40 years. Yes, since 68. Huh. So, very excited to be working on this. Between the Deaths of Faisal Husseini and Yasser Arafat, a new edition of 2 fine art book with audio element, MTK, MT Karthik. And this is going to be a while before I'm back, guys. I'm not going to be able to do vote count for a while, and I'm not going to be able to do some of those other things, I don't think, for a while. Maybe, but things are kind of hectic in the personal life right now, so maybe not. Best to you.